Here is how the RSPCA delivered a man's dog back to him after it had been killed in their care, a shocking tale of neglect by the animal charity. We are at the extraordinary Dallas Safari Club show in Texas to look at a world beyond Cecil. News has the labrador that retrieves lobsters and hunting YouTube, the best hunting on YouTube. Welcome to Fieldsports Britain. These images show the dogs that belong to a man called Anton in happier days. He filmed them with his mobile phone. Here is how the RSPCA returned one of his dogs, killed, they claim, in a dogfight while in their care. It's another RSPCA scandal, and it centres on these kennels, Ruskington in Lincolnshire. It's a story of animal abuse and of people abuse. I'm in Mablethorpe in North Lincolnshire to meet Anton, a countryman, a working dog owner. He does not want to be identified in this film because he fears reprisals from RSPCA supporters.
I was already awake, heard a big knock at the door. So I went outside, opened the door, and there must have been, can't tell you exactly, 8 police officers. There was an RSPCA lady there. Obviously there was an RSPCA inspector there, undercover and that, and they said, "Oh, we got a warrant. Warrant for what? Animal fighting."
Anton brought his dogs into the house one by one the officers agreed that they were in good health. He knew, however, that one of the dogs had a mark under its chin. He panicked and tried surreptitiously to put that dog over the fence at the back of the house when he went to get another dog. The police spotted him and took him to Louth police station. The RSPCA took the dogs.
All the dogs worked apart from the bulldog and the ridgeback. They were the White's family pets. On the 17th, I got a call from the solicitor to say, "Anton, I've got some bad news. One of your dogs is dead." How did it die? They've not told me, just in a fight. That's all they've said. In the autopsy report, it tells you about all the injuries. One injury in particular being 10 centimetres long.
Yep.
So we had to do a separate autopsy, obviously, ourselves. So Ian called me, he says, "Anton, I can't identify the dog for you. It's just chopped up meat, basically." So I shot up there, I looked, I couldn't identify it. We scanned the bag, the microchip had gone. The dog's skinned, gutted, all its internal organs have been removed. Everything, its head's chopped off, the brain's been removed.
Why have they done that?
It's intimidation. It's to try and break you. When I put complaints in, I got the impression it was, "Oh, you've still got other dogs here, Anton. Watch what you're doing."
It was more than a year before the trial. Anton was charged on counts including dogfighting. He was convicted of not seeking veterinary advice. And he says the RSPCA only secured that conviction because they did not play fair in court. Having agreed to accept Anton's vet's evidence that there was nothing wrong with his dogs, they went back on their word.
Now, on the Friday morning, when it was his turn for the last bit of evidence to be read out, we disagree with it. We need him here. So I called him, and he was in surgery. He couldn't leave. He was 2 hours away. That's the only reason I got convicted of that, failing to seek veterinary advice, and I got conditional discharge for it. Now, if I'd have been found guilty of all 6 charges, they wanted £160,000 from me. £160,000. Then they would have put all the dogs down. If they can't get publicity out of a case or a prosecution for a profit, they don't want to know.
The vet backs up Anton's story.
Well, with Anton's case, I never understood what they were really getting at. I never understood what he'd done wrong. His dogs always seemed in good condition. The dogs were fine. One had got a wound and it just needed time to heal. It was a clean wound that couldn't be stitched. It couldn't be stitched, and the dog was fit and well, it just needed TLC and care and time to heal. And
we did ask the RSPCA if we could talk to someone from the kennels in Ruskington, and they said no, but they did send us a statement. The RSPCA says there was nothing wrong with their case against Anton. They say that the decision to prosecute has been vindicated by his conviction. For a full copy of the statement, go to our website. Now, we have seen the victim, we've seen the vet. Next stop, it's the lawyer. He helps people through the court process, and later he sets about claiming compensation from the RSPCA. So I've come to an industrial estate in Kent, home to Warren Salter, who runs RSPCA Victim Support on Facebook, which has become quite a little cottage industry.
So I'm working on behalf of a lot of, I use the word victims of the RSPCA, in order to try and get some recompense for that, to get their animals back. There are many, many, many cases whereby they've been found not guilty. The animals are meant to be returned immediately, and 2 years down the line I've got clients that have still not had any of their animals returned. So there's a lot of civil action about to be unloaded onto the RSPCA. If you don't qualify for legal aid, which a fair few do, but not many, the ballpark figure that most solicitors and lawyers will give you to start off will be 15 to 20,000 minimum. Then you've got a barrister to come in for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, 21 days, who knows. Recent case down in Devon, dog fighting, and that was £1 million that they have lost, probably 2 million on 10 cases, in the costs of what it's cost them in order to bring that to court.
As for Anton's case, Warren is currently going down the Independent Police Complaints Commission route.
We have put complaints into the IPCC. They've come back with a report which, just as you would expect, says no, everything was fine. So we're now about to appeal the reports to the IPCC. The problem was there wasn't a great deal of evidence. What they were trying to prosecute him on, there was actually no factual evidence at all. They were insinuating there was dog fighting, he was training his dogs for fighting, and there was absolutely no evidence of that whatsoever.
For Warren, the problem is the RSPCA.
The fact that you release your dog in the countryside, it then decides to chase a rabbit, that's what it does. That's it, you know. And where does it stop? Fishing, shooting, falconry, you know, where does it stop? I think there's a lot of politics involved. I think the RSPCA has been unregulated for far too long. I think it should lose the Royal without any shadow of a doubt. And I think that may well happen. I think that there's probably enough support for that to happen.
Has the RSPCA changed, do you think, in the last 25 years?
yeah, oh definitely, yeah. When I worked in Boston, the elderly gentleman, RSPCA officer, who was a local man and knew the area and knew the people, he was very understanding. He was very good, and certainly any cruelty, he would be onto it, and he wanted animals to be cared for and looked after properly, but he would only deal with cruelty cases. If an animal was cut or injured, he would want to ensure it was treated and looked after, but I'm sure he wouldn't take action against someone whose animal had the misfortune of being injured.
She was waking up at night screaming and crying.
Your wife?
We've had to put cameras up. She's frightened to death of them coming back. I've still got dogs, but dogs they have never ever seen. So they cannot fabricate any evidence or anything. I work my dogs. The slightest inclination of any mark or anything, they will try and persecute me again. They will come out and say, it didn't have that mark on it when we had it. I mean, I just want to educate people on what the RSPCA actually like.
For Anton's anti-RSPCA group, search Facebook for RSPCA Did This. Warren also has a group on Facebook. Search for RSPCA Victim Support. This is not the first time we've covered this kind of story. The RSPCA killed one of Roy Lupton's eagles in a similar situation. Maybe, if we put enough pressure on, the RSPCA, they'll stop this campaign they have against people in the countryside. On a lighter note, one of our viewers recently noticed the similarity between the Muppets newsreader and the man coming up next. It is David on the Fieldsports channel News Stump.
This is Fieldsports Channel News. 2 hunters in the USA took aim at a protected deer and found themselves caught in a trap. Maryland Natural Resources Police had 3 animals: robo-deer, robo-bear and robo-turkey. Officers put the mechanical dummies out when they get reports of poaching. They caught 2 men pointing lamps at robo-deer and then shooting the dummy with crossbows from the road. Robo-animals are now widespread across the USA, and this robo-mule is being used in Arizona. Flooding in Aberdeenshire has led to acts of charity across Scotland. One of the sporting tenants on the Invercold estate gave over his lodge to a local family evacuated from their home. Horrified by image of the flood damage while in Belgium, he contacted the head keeper to instruct him to open doors to those requiring rehousing. Another Belgian doing good work is this Belgian Malinois. Called Canine Killer, his tracking skills have led to the capture of 115 poachers in South Africa's Kruger National Park. As a result, he has won the PDSA Gold Medal, a kind of animal's George Cross. If you thought pumas had a lot of teeth, this one's got an extra set. The animal was shot in Idaho. One theory is that the extra set of teeth may be the remnants of a conjoined twin. Another is that it's a type of tumour called a teratoma, which can sometimes grow other body parts such as hair, teeth and even eyes. And finally, how good is your dog at retrieving, and can she or he do this? Alex Schultz, co-founder of marine conservation organisation devoted to the ocean, trained his dogs to dive down and catch live lobsters. This dog is Lila, and this video is currently going viral. You are now up to date with Fieldsports Channel News. Stalking the stories, fishing for facts.
Thank you, David. Next up, it's Lions and Tigers. We're off to the extraordinary Dallas Safari Club show in Texas. In the land of Go Large, the Dallas Safari Club makes a big noise here in the US. But in the last 18 months, it's discovered a newfound infamy that's gone global. The auctioning of the black rhino hunt in Namibia last year put them and the subsequent winner, Corey Knowlton, in the spotlight and the firing line.
The most exciting part to me was when the CNN anchor was running it for his life towards me as the rhino was trying to impale him. But so that was really good. The fact that he didn't get killed and we're able to get through the whole thing safely and make it home was pretty awesome.
Do you think enough people have asked you about what you thought the hunt?
No, I'm waiting for more right now. That's why I'm agreeing to do this interview. I'm waiting for more people to ask me about when am I going black rhino hunting? Did I get the black rhino home? And did I enjoy the hunt? Am I tired of anti hunters? Okay, am I tired of anti hunters? I love talking to them as long as they don't threaten my wife and kids. Did I get the rhino back? Yes, it's in the United States. Yep. And let's see, I did enjoy the hunt. It was a good time. The actual hunt itself and the people in Namibia were awesome. So it was an awesome experience all the way around. Outside of having my wife called a bunch of names and my house threatened, that wasn't that good. I don't regret doing it. How about that?
Okay.
I mean, I think my wife and my kids would all strangle me and kill me if I said I was doing this again.
What do you take away from that whole last 12 months, 18 months?
Well, I was pretty tired. Yeah, but I mean, if I really look at it, back at it, I think it was worth it. That would be what I'd be left over. At the end of the day, I think it was worth it.
So Corey has no regrets, and there's no sense of anyone being on the back foot here. Hunting is in their blood, and African hunting seems to have a real resonance. Probably the most famous hunting author and journalist is Craig Boddington. He has travelled all over the world and is keen to show that hunting and conservation are part of every continent's culture. But how do we keep the pro-hunting PR machine going while avoiding another Cecil?
Dedicated anti-hunters, first of all, they're very, very organized and certainly able to prey upon emotions rather than on actual pragmatic reality. And so I think we need to be very careful what and how we post on social media, and be very, very careful that we stress, first of all, the good that we do. Second, the beauty of the experience. Not necessarily the taking of animals, because after all, most hunting excursions don't end in the taking of an animal. We're unsuccessful.
So being a responsible hunter is key, but these responsible hunters don't feel the powers that be are playing fair, especially when it comes to the new restrictions on bringing back lion trophies from the Dark Continent into the USA. Those laws come in 2 weeks' time, and some say the African lion business dies with it. That has a knock-on effect to the many taxidermists at the show.
I'm terribly worried. I mean, lions were a huge part of our business, and obviously lion hunters are more of the affluent. They let us do some really cool stuff. I mean, if you look at the numbers of my books of how many lions I did every year, it's going to hurt us bad to lose those. There's guys leaving the show, which this is a huge part of the year. I mean, they're flying to Africa right now to go shoot lions, and guys that were maybe thinking of shooting one lion or maybe going and shooting 3, just because they're just worried. I mean, I think it's my role to help them build their trophy room the way they want it, to get involved and get them there to get these lions in these rooms, because you got to have a lion to have a classic room.
So we could have a situation where the African ranchers either cull their lions because they can't afford to keep them, or they will just open the gates and let them go. Now there's a thought. It's not just Africa, Africa, Africa. The British contingent are selling their wares to Americans who hunt hogs.
The really wonderful thing for us that I got very excited about is that when we're talking to these hunters, we've got a product for each category that they're hunting in, which has been fantastic, either the viper, the wolf, or the eagle. So our reception from the American hunter couldn't have been better. We're just absolutely delighted.
The Dallas Safari Club is a powerful organisation, but how has it managed the media onslaught over its famous auction?
It's the same thing that's happening in the floor, that someone's buying a hunt, okay, buying an activity or whatever. And our exhibitors believe in our mission statement and what we do, and the way that we interact with them, and the way we support the things that are important to them. Some of the grants we make are things like to the Zimbabwe Professional Hunters Association, the Tanzanian Professional Hunters Association, organizations that keep hunting at the highest level of ethics, things like that. We support them. We want to make sure that we're all in the community doing the right thing.
Craig's not the only hunting star out here. There's a guy called Steve Scott, and he's had a close encounter with African wildlife of his own.
We were darting an elephant, a matriarchal cow, and frankly the professional hunter's phone went off, and so she was on us. He said shoot, and I put the dart in her hip, and usually when that happens they turn and run, but this time the trunk goes up and here she comes. He said run. The only difference was this time my hamstring snapped and I went down, and 19 yards away is a charging elephant. And we talked about falling. It's the same thing. Your mind speeds up and time slows down, and you think about all of these things and know you're going to die, but you have plenty of time to contemplate this. And something in this contemplation said, maybe you should throw your hat. What? Throw your hat. So as I'm feeling the ground pound as this thing's coming towards me, I throw my hat backwards. She picks it up, picks up the scent, goes and just destroys it. But it gives me enough time to kind of crawl away and rectify my situation with a tree, and then limp away. And you know, that has a way of refocusing your priorities when you have that kind of experience. And you know, I'll thank that matriarchal elephant till the day I die, because I am a lot more centered than I used to be when you face something like that.
This Dallas Safari Club convention is big and brash, but pumps out millions of dollars into conservation across the planet. And for an organisation which employs just a dozen full-time personnel, it pulls together the hunting community like no other. Well, from the USA to the wider world of hunting and shooting on YouTube, it is Hunting YouTube. This is Hunting YouTube, which aims to show the best hunting and shooting videos that YouTube has to offer. Here is American pheasant hunting. We Brits would call this a walked up day. One of the top hunting YouTubers, Hushin, is out with dogs in northern Utah. Also in the snow, Jana Brattbacken gets to don cool white camo in Jakt deer hunting. He is enjoying a Swedish winter wonderland after fallow deer. Jakt Fever has this half-hour film about stalking in the Scandinavian woods. Literally hunting fever. It is a charming, languorous piece that focuses as much on general wildlife as the hunt. Guillaume Rieland produces this excellent compilation of driven big game hunting, which he mainly filmed in Belgium. Guaranteed frissons, he says, and he's right. For more literal driven big game, Moto Humpter is back on YouTube after a year, and he continues with his incredible series catching feral pigs in the Australian outback using only a motorbike. Byron Pace tells me about his new film, a trailer for his first combination hunting and survival series, which is out on YouTube later in the year. Some people hunt mink, others use mink for hunting. In this video, Missy, Joseph Carter's first hunting mink, catches a muskrat in a half-submerged pile of rocks, and Joseph helps dig it out. And finally, unlike anything I've ever seen, that's how Mike Rowe describes his wild night with rat hunting dogs in New York City. A group of ordinary New Yorkers who happen to own sporting terriers come together to go through the bins. That's it for this week. If you have a YouTube film you would like us to pop into the weekly top 8, send it in via YouTube or email me the link, charlie@fieldsportschannel.tv. Well, if you don't like those, there's always our own clay shooting show, Clay Sports. We've got the mental side of shooting this week and how to do it, and we've got Aaron Heading trying to shoot clays with a bow and arrow. Click on the link on the screen. Well, we are back next week. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe. Please go to our website, fieldsportschannel.tv, where you can do that, or click to like us on Facebook, or follow us on Twitter, or pop your email address into our constant contact box, and we'll constantly contact you about this show. Fieldsports Britain is at 7 p.m. UK time every Wednesday, and this has been Fieldsports Britain. Good hunting, good shooting, good fishing, and goodbye.